Okay, so we have to deal with this program. So that is where we come across the keyword super. So we'll come to know how to use this keyword in inheritance concept. Okay. So whenever we write the program using inheritance concept, so minimum two classes should be there. Okay. And if at all, if we want to write more than two classes, that is also possible. Multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. There are 5 types of inheritance. So here we are using class box, okay, and that we can call it as a super class, and box weight class. This we can call it as a subclass. So in Java, we call superclass and subclass. In C++, base class and derived class. Okay, meanings are same only. Okay. Next, one more class that is a demo super. So demo super to include main method. Okay, so when we include main method, so program starts executing. Right. Now let me see what happens in this program. So we'll go for the diagram. Okay. So this is the output. So now in the diagram, we will come to know how program control flow from one line to another. Okay. So just a minute. Okay. So in the main method, the first line is box weight my box 1 is equals to new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. See in this line, so what we have to understand is my box 1 object is created. Okay, with respect to the class box weight. With respect to class box weight, my box 1 object is created. And when we create an object in Java, generally what we do, we make use of new keyword to allocate the memory for that particular object. Because if I don't use a new keyword, so that is not called as an actual object, it is called as object reference. Okay. So when we use the new keyword, we will call it as actual object, where memory will be allocated. So new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3 means, so 4 values we are passing. So box weight here, when I use the second time, that is called as a constructor. Okay. So see, we know that whenever these type of lines are executed, the program control will move to that particular constructor. So here the constructor is box weight. If you observe, in the box, you come in the class box weight. In this, you have to look at the constructor. See, constructor I have written 4 times. You see here, box weight, first constructor, second, third, and fourth. 4 times I have written constructor. That means it is called as constructor overloading concept, just like method overloading, constructor overloading. So whenever you write multiple constructors, that is more than one constructor in a class, that is called as constructor overloading. In that case, what you have to do, you have to change in the parameter list. Okay, you should not use the same parameter, same number of parameters and the same type of parameters in all the constructors. We have to change. See, if you observe, in the first constructor, I have used one parameter with the data type as object. Because box weight is a class name, OB becomes an object. Then in the second constructor, I have used 4 variables with the data type double. In the third constructor, no parameters. In the last constructor, it is 2 parameters, one with the data type double and so another with the variable m with the data type double. Okay, 2 variables have used. So this concept is called as constructor overloading. Now, when in the main function, if this line is executed, so which constructor will be executed, that we have to see. So 4 parameters are there, 4 values are there, 10, 20, 15, 34.3. You have to look at the constructor where 4 parameters should be there. So in the box weight class, 4 parameters function means this only. Okay, constructor when all parameters are specified. So here, for your understanding purpose, I can write here 4 parameters. Okay. So what happens here? The program control will come to this particular constructor. Okay. When program control comes to this constructor, inside this constructor, we have the word super keyword. So whenever you come across super keyword, you just look at this comment, call superclass constructor. So program control will move to the superclass constructor. So here superclass means box class. See, so box class is the superclass. And again in the box class, we have 4 constructor. same like in box weight, in box class also four constructors we have with a different number of parameters and data type. Okay, out of these four constructors, which one it will call, that we should see. You see, when program control is present in the box weight constructor, and when super of WHD, this line is executed, you have to look at the superclass constructor, and in that constructor you have to look at the constructor where three parameters are there. Right? You have to look at the constructor where three parameters are there. So whenever you come across the word super, you just go to the superclass constructor. See here, superclass is, see for your reference I'm writing, superclass is box class. Okay, how to go for this particular class? Yes, we'll move to the box class. In box class, so we have four times we have written the constructor. Out of four constructor, you have to go for this constructor, because here three parameters are there. Okay, constructor used when all dimensions specified. So three parameters. So for this constructor, you have to come. Now you look at the diagram. So same thing have done. See here. Okay. See, super of WHD, when this line is executed, it will call the superclass constructor where three parameters are there. So when superclass constructor is executed with three parameters, W will be copied to W, H will be copied to H, D will be copied to D. See here, just little bit round process is there. You have to understand. See, when you see super of WHD, you should know what are the values of WHD. So to know the values of WHD, what you have to do? Again, you have to come from this line. Box weight by box 1 is equals to new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. Understood? If you want to know the values of WHD. So from this line, that is box weight, my box 1 is equals to new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. 10 will be copied to W, 20 will be copied to H, 15 will be copied to D, 34.3 will be copied to M. That is nothing but the weight. So same values you have to consider in super of WHD. Okay, whatever the values we got from main method, that is from the line box weight, my box 1 equals new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. Same values you have to consider for WH and D. So for W10, for H20, for D 34.3, and M you can directly store in weight variable, because weight variable refers to box weight class, whereas width, height and depth refers to box class. See that you have to notice here. Width, height and depth refers to box class, weight refers to box weight class. So you can directly store in that variable. And super of WHD, W value is 10, H value is 20, D value is 15. Same values are copied for the superclass constructor, that is box constructor. So W to W, H to H, D to D. You look at the arrow mark. In turn, again, you see the assignment statements here. Width equal to W, height equal to H, depth equal to D. So W, H and D are copied to the width, height and depth respectively. So for the box class, we are getting width, height and depth as 10, 20, 15. Okay, understood. See how we got is when this particular line is executed, box weight, my box 1 equals new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. These four values are copied to the box weight constructor. Inside box weight constructor, we have written the statement where superclass constructor will be called. Those values are passed to that line, that is super of WHD. Those values are copied to box class constructor, that is superclass constructor. So the values of WH and D in turn are copied to the instance variables width, height and depth of box class. So for box class, we are getting width, height and depth as 10, 20 and 15. Okay, so this is the first object created, that is my box 1. Okay, and weight, it is directly copied to the weight variable of box weight class. Okay, now when you go to the second line in the main method, box weight my box 2 is equals to new box weight of 2340.076. It works exactly similar to the my box 1. Only thing is one more extra variable, the extra object they have created with the different values. That's all. Okay, values are different. That's all. Okay, so same thing. Box weight constructor is called in. Okay, let us go to the diagram only. See, look here. So in the second diagram it is present. See, box weight my box 2 is equals to new box weight of 2, 3, 4, 0.07 6. Okay. So 2, 3, 4 and 0.076 will be copied to W, H, D and M. And again, in the box weight constructor, that is subclass constructor, superclass constructor, we are calling super of W, H and D. So these values are copied to W, H and D. You look at the arrow mark. Those values are copied to width, height and depth. And M value will be copied to weight, which refers to box weight. Okay. So two objects are created now. My box 1, my box 2. For my box 1, we have the values 10, 20, 15. Weight is 34.3. And for my box 2, we have the values 2, 3, 4. And weight is 0.076. Okay. Now coming to the next line in the main method. Box weight, my box 3 is equals to new box weight. So this is a default constructor. Default constructor in the sense, you have to look at the box weight constructor where no parameters are present. Okay. Now we'll go to the diagram. See, you just look at this diagram. Right side. Box weight, my box 3 is equals to new box weight. So subclass constructor, that is box weight constructor is called where no parameters are present. When program control comes to the box weight constructor, again in that super keyword is there. And in super keyword also, there is no parameter. Okay, in super keyword also there is no parameter. Okay, and it will call the box constructor, that is superclass constructor, where no parameters are present. So when box constructor is called, so values -1 is assigned for all width, height and depth. So for box class, width, height and depth values are -1. Okay, and for weight it is -1. So box weight, my box 3 is equals to new box weight of, that is without parameters. When this line is executed, when this particular statement is executed, it will call the subclass constructor where no parameters are there. In turn, it will call the box constructor where no parameters are there. So in this way, values are stored. Okay. Now coming to the next line. Box weight, my cube is equals to box weight of 3, 2. Okay, so two parameters are there here. So you have to look at the constructor where two parameters should be present. Okay, so where it is present in the subclass constructor, just wait for a minute, I'm getting a call. Okay. So you have to look at the constructor where two parameters are there. So here, actually, if you look at the line, box my cube is equals to new box weight of 3, 2. So 3 and 2 are integers, right? Internally, it will be converted to double data type, because in the constructor, if you see, when you're using the parameters data type are double. Okay, but 3 and 2 are integers. So internally, it will be converted to 3.0, 2.0. Okay. So when this constructor is called, again, you see, in the box weight constructor, superclass constructor is called. So always when we are calling the subclass constructor, inside that, superclass constructors are called. Okay. So if we look at the diagram here, so you just look at this diagram. Okay. So box weight, my cube is equals to new box weight of 3, 2. So 3 will be copied to length, 2 will be copied to M. So super of len. So this will call the box constructor. So len for variable len, that is parameter, we are getting the value of 3, and that will be copied to all the instance variables, width, height and depth. Okay, so for box class we can consider width, height and depth. The values are 3.0. For box weight, only one variable is there, that is weight. For that we can consider 2.0. Okay. Now coming to the next line. Box weight my clone is equals to new box of my box 1. See here, you see one parameter is there. That parameter is object. So I have written, see, it is an object. It is not a normal value. It is an object. So you have to look at the constructor where parameter should be object. In the first you look at the subclass. So in the subclass, first constructor only, it is like that. Box weight. So box weight is a constructor name. In that again, box weight is a class name. OB becomes the object. So this constructor will be called. Okay. And inside that, just a minute. So always this line should be the first line in the constructor. Okay. Super keyword should be first line. So inside that, so superclass constructor is called. See again in the superclass constructor, that is box constructor, we have to look at the constructor where parameter should be object. Yes, parameter is an object, that is OB. Okay. So these values are passed to width, height and depth. Okay. And weight will be copied to weight. So in this way you have to understand. Just a minute. Okay. So for the last one, I have not put the diagram. I didn't get time for that. It's okay. So let us understand the output, how it displays. Okay. I hope you people got these 5 lines. Okay, how the constructors are called. See, the thing is, first it will call the subclass constructor. In the subclass constructor, we have the statement to call the superclass constructor. So after execution of superclass constructor, the program control again comes to the main method. So it will execute the next line. So in that way, you can consider these 5 lines. First call the subclass constructor. Inside subclass constructor, superclass constructor will be called. So you just look at this diagram. Okay. And values are copied here. So once values are copied, so we know that values of width, height, and depth whenever the constructors are called. Later, we can think of calculating the volume. So you just look here. Volume is equals to mybox1 dot volume. So you have to consider the values of mybox1 object, that is width, height, and depth. Okay, and weight we are displaying separately, becomes volume means I think 3 sides. Okay, that is especially for cube, for rectangular box or for cube, 3 sides we have to consider, width, height, and depth, that is dimensions. So because here in the class we have taken, see, width, height, and depth we have taken. Okay. So width into height into depth is nothing but the volume. Okay, and weight we are displaying separately. Okay, see, after execution of these 5 statements, the remaining thing is only about calculation of volume and displaying the weight. That's all. Okay, only thing is these 5 statements you have to understand correctly. Then coming to the, say, if you we can separate like this. Like if I just leave one line, so we'll come to know clearly. So whenever we write the program, there is something called as format of program. Format of program in the sense, first thing, like after putting opening brace, leaving some space, okay, and then writing. So for every opening brace, you leave some space and write. And see, whenever you come across one set, like say, if I want to calculate volume of my box one, then displaying the volume, displaying the weight, then you can write these statements. After writing that, you leave one line and next you write, so that you can say this is one set. Okay, for my box one, next for my box two, next coming to the my box three. So calculating the volume of my box three. Okay. Next, my clone. See, whenever we use my cloning means nothing but copying. Clone concept is copy. Here, my clone means we can say like exact copy of my box one. Whatever the values of my box one is there, we can consider like exact copy of my box one. Okay, the meaning of the word clone itself is nothing but copying. Okay. So here, these sentences refers to my clone. Okay. Next refers to my cube. So we will look at the output here. So volume of my box one is equals to 3000. So weight of my box one. So first 2 statements indicates volume and weight of my box one. Next, volume and weight of my box two. Volume and weight of my box three. Similarly, my clone and my cube. Okay. Okay. So you just look at this diagram. So once again I will explain. Just listen in brief. See, first thing, subclass constructor is called. When subclass constructor is called, inside that first statement should be word super. You should not write super keyword of a second or third statement or at the end of the constructor. First statement should be super constructor, super keyword. So when you write super keyword, it will call the superclass constructor. So here 2 classes are there, box and box weight. Box weight is subclass constructor, box is superclass constructor. So when you call box weight constructor, inside that it will call the superclass constructor. Okay. So here if you look at the statement box weight, my box one is equals to new box weight of 10, 20, 15, 34.3. So 10, 20, 15, 34.3 are copied to WH, D and M. M refers to weight here. And here WHD values, that means 10, 20, 15 are copied to superclass constructor, WHD. In turn, WHD are copied to width, height, and depth. So for box class, for instance variables width, height, and depth, we can say values are 10, 20, and 15. And for box weight class, okay, for box weight class, for my box one object, we can say weight is 34.3. Okay, because weight refers to only box weight, whereas width, height, and depth refers to box class. Okay. So this is my box 1. So similarly, my box 2 also. Only values are different. Working process is same for that is for my box 1 and my box 2. That is subclass constructor is called. Inside that superclass constructor is called. Values are copied. So for box class, we are getting the width, height, and depth as 2, 3, and 4. For box weight, we are getting the weight as 0.076. Okay. When you go to the my box 3, and that is constructor with no parameters. We can say default constructor. So first box weight constructor, default constructor is called, that is subclass constructor. Inside that keyword super is there. When you write super keyword, here also in super keyword, you should not write any values. Just you have to write opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, and stop. Then it will call the box constructor, that is superclass constructor with the values -1. Okay. So for weight also it is -1. Next, coming to the my cube. So here we are passing two values. One is length and one is weight. Same thing, like box weight constructor is called that subclass constructor. Inside that super keyword is there, it will call the superclass constructor. So we are getting the values of width, height, and depth. Then for weight also we are getting the value. And when you go to the my clone is nothing but copy, right? Exact copy. So you can consider whatever the values present for my box 1, those values are copied to the my clone. Here we have called like object reference, but it is not an object reference because new keyword is there. So if new keyword was not present, then we would have called object reference. Like if I don't use constructor and new keyword, if I just use box my clone is equals to my box 1, this becomes object reference. That means we can call my clone as an object reference, not actual object. But whenever we have the new keyword, what happens? Like it treats as object reference first. That means we are getting the values of my box 1 and we are storing in my clone object. Then it will create the new object for my clone. Okay. So if you look at the output, that is, see, volume of my box 1 and weight of my box 1 is the same as volume of my clone and weight of my clone. Okay. Volume of my box 1 and weight of my box 1 is same as volume of my clone and weight of my clone, because I said exact copy we are getting. Okay. Okay, you can look at this diagrams in program. If you come across any doubts, you can ask. Okay. So the constructor in box weight, just they are concentrating on the one of the constructor used in subclass as well as superclass. That is, they have taken this constructor in the subclass. We have sorry. I think this first one, box weight OB. So this constructor, that means where we are using object as a parameter, object as an argument. So first time I have written box weight, that is a constructor name. Inside parenthesis, whatever they think I have written box weight, that is the class name. So OB is an object. So a little bit explanation is there about that, about those statements. We will see what it is. The constructor in box weight of OB pass object to constructor. See, we are passing object to the constructor. See, constructor means it can be default constructor and it can be parameterized constructor. In case of default constructor, we will not pass any values. In case of parameterized constructor, it can contain one or more parameters. And those parameter data type can be basic types like int, float, char, double, and all. And it also can be object type. So here we use one parameter which is of object type. See how you will come to know whether it is a basic type or object type means when you see OB, before that we have written box weight. Box weight is a class name. So we can call OB is an object. So pass object as an object to the constructor. So this object we are passing to the superclass constructor. Okay. Notice that super is passed an object of type box weight, not of type box. So when you see OB, you see what is its class name. Whenever you look at the object or object reference, you should see to which class it belongs. That is very important. So OB belongs to box weight class, not a box class. So only that they're telling. Notice that super is passed an object of type box weight, not of type box. Because see, if I have written like instead of box, if I have written box, then you can call it as object of box. But I have written box weight OB. So they are telling it is of type of box weight, not of type box. Okay. This still invokes the constructor box OB. A superclass variable can be used to reference any object derived from that class. Superclass variable can be used to reference any object derived from that class. The meaning of this is, even though we are passing object of subclass, it will refer to the object of superclass. Just understand this sentence. Even though we are passing object of subclass, because OB refers to box weight class, and when this particular line is executed, which constructor it will call, that we should see. Which constructor it will call means, like it will call superclass constructor, that is box class. In superclass constructor, it will call the constructor where we have this one. Okay, box of OB. So you see, like box weight OB, that means which refers to box weight class, box OB, which refers to box class. So even though we are sending object of subclass to the superclass constructor, it can be referred like that. So only that they're telling. Superclass variable can be used to reference any object derived from that class. Thus, we are able to pass box weight object to the box constructor. Of course, box only has the knowledge of its own members. Okay. See here, whenever we are writing object reference, I think I have said once. For example, if I write box OB1 is equals to a new box. If I write this statement, that the meaning of this is OB1 is an object of type box class, right? Next, if I say OB2 is equals to OB1, if I write like this, OB2 is equals to OB1, then you should tell object OB2 for which class it will refer, because that's very important. You are saying OB2 is a reference. Okay, OB2 is a object reference, right? But you should mention to which class it belongs. So how to mention? Here you have